Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. We got some more 2A news for you. There has been some movement on the Georgia constitutional carry bill. That is Senate Bill 319. It is actually on the governor's desk right now. We are going to dive into this and discuss it. This article comes from our friends at the National Association for Gun Rights. Dudley and his crew over there, really good people. We are going to dive into this. Before we get started, I would like to thank our friends at USCCA for supporting our videos. If you are looking for a great group of people that can protect you in the event that you were involved in a shooting, a legal shooting, and the legal ramifications of which can be very crippling financially. So a group like USCCA is great because, they do protect you. They got a lot of great training aids and instructional videos too, and lots of great information that you have access to when you're a member. If you use the code IV8888, you can actually save yourself 10% off a membership if you want to check them out. So go over there and maybe give them a try, USCCA, and tell them we sent you. All right, we're going to get right into this. All right, Georgia constitutional carry goes to Governor Kemp's desk. This is dated April 1st, so it's not an April Fool's joke, I promise. This is from a few days ago. Senate Bill 319, Georgia's constitutional carry bill, passed the Senate 34-22 today and is headed to Governor Brian Kemp's desk for signature. This is a great day for gun owners, as fully half of the states in America will have restored the constitutional right to bear arms without government infringement or taxation on that right, said Dudley Brown, president of the National Association for Gun Rights. And it's thanks in part to the tireless work of National Association for Gun Rights members in Georgia lobbying their lawmakers and demanding that Georgia become the next constitutional carry state. Governor Kemp posted a tweet earlier today saying he looks forward to signing the Georgia Constitutional Carry Act of 2021 into law soon. Constitutional carry is a straightforward concept that if you are legally allowed to possess a handgun, you should be able to carry that handgun openly or concealed without having to obtain a government permit or pay a tax to do so. The good people of Georgia have waited a long time to have their rights restored, and the National Association for Gun Rights and its Georgia members call on Governor Kemp to sign the bill without delay, concluded Brown. Georgia joins Alabama, Indiana, and Ohio in passing constitutional carry during the 2022 legislative cycle. All right, and the National Association for Gun Rights is the nation's largest no-compromise pro-gun organization with 4.5 million members nationwide. So that makes Georgia the 25th state to adopt constitutional carry as soon as Governor Kemp signs the legislation, which he has obviously, expressed interest in doing so. And I think it's interesting, right? So now half the country has constitutional carry. And of course, you're going to see all the typical, backlash from the anti-gun establishment and everything like that. And also, you've seen some backlash from the law enforcement perspective as well. They're worried about people walking around with guns or whatever and not having to have some type of a permit. What this does come down to is anytime you create a financial barrier to exercising a right, that's always an issue. I think it's Harper versus Virginia. There's a few other Supreme Court cases that wound up determining that polling taxes were illegal. So that right there gives you kind of a tiny inkling as though, even though, yes, Congress can levy taxes, that's one of the things that they're able to do, right, is levy taxes. That's one of the powers the government has. But when you place a financial barrier between a right, that becomes definitely an issue. There's been many situations where, in many cases, the government cannot force you to buy or purchase a good or service, right? The same thing goes for rights. You can't tax rights. And I think that what this is really paving the way to, at least in my hope, is that maybe in our lifetime or maybe even within the next decade, we'll see a situation where possibly we see the NFA taxes repealed, or at least the tax portion. And that's a first start, right? Is to at least remove the financial barrier between exercising our rights. Now, I would love to see the NFA completely abolished altogether, but just like anti-gun bills tend to kind of chip away at our rights incrementally, that same incrementalism has to be applied to the pro-gun, side of things as well. So if we can chip away and get a little bit back as we go, eventually, if you have a giant cake the size of a swimming pool, you don't try to stuff the whole cake in your mouth. You eat it one bite at a time, and you bring all your friends along, and everybody takes a bite until the cake is gone. So it's the same type of thing. That incrementalism that got us where we are now, it will pull us out of this in time, because I really do believe that gun culture in this country is changing for the better. Gun culture encompasses a much wider group of people than what it did, even just a few decades ago, but especially 3 or 4 decades ago, right? Whereby it seems like gun culture seemed to be this sort of strangely ingrained thing that society only associated with, like the prepper movement or the survivalist movement that was really popular in the 80s. But now we're seeing right now that we've come full circle. I mean, look at how many decades we're past the crime bill, right? Remember when they passed that and they had the feature restrictions and magazine restrictions and all of those things. That ban sunsetted after 10 years. And what that also showed us was that the data was very, very inconclusive to those measures actually doing anything to stop crime or prevent crime. Okay. And the funny thing about that is, now that we've gone full circle, here we have 25 states that have adopted constitutional carry, and that list is growing, right? That list is expanding day by day, and there's a lot of push at the state level to pass pro-gun legislation, and a lot of people, constituents in these states, are pushing their elected representatives and putting their feet to the fire and applying that pressure, which is necessary. And that's one thing I want to mention about NAGR. Is what I can appreciate about Dudley. His methods are probably a little bit different than what some of you are used to seeing. We look at a group like FPC and they're suing the crap out of people, and that's awesome. Like, applying that legal pressure and suing and lawsuits, that is a very effective way to apply pressure. Dudley applies pressure in a very unique way as a gun group. And I think that they've got a lot of really cool things going on, and that direct pressure is what creates these diamonds that we see as the pro-gun legislation that are getting passed. So this is a crucial step in the right direction of freedom. There are many people from many different backgrounds that have embraced the culture of gun ownership, and I believe that culture is expanding to many different groups of people, many different demographics, different political ideologies and things. So it's becoming more of an untouchable jewel, right? Like, you're Indiana Jones and you're trying to take the idol and put the sand in place. Like, you're just not going to do it. Like, you're going to spring that trap. And I think that that's one of the interesting things that is happening with the Second Amendment community, is that people are starting to kind of realize, what, this is off limits, right? We can all disagree philosophically on a few things here and there, but what, at the end of the day, we need to all understand that unity is more important, and the fundamental protection, or the protection of our fundamental rights and our Second Amendment rights, is a way that we keep that unity and keep society, let's just say, fair and polite. And as the old saying goes, an armed society is a polite society. So it's going to be very curious to see how constitutional carry shakes down. One general kind of question that I had about it, I didn't really research it too much before I made this video, because I actually just now, it kind of popped in my brain here. But just bear with me here, is that, all right, well, how are the background checks going to work? So if constitutional carry is a thing, well, I'm sure they're still going to have a permitting system for somebody that wants to go get a permit. So if you want to use your carry permit, which isn't necessary anymore, to not have to worry about the background check and getting delayed on a NICS check, so that would be one interesting thing. From my understanding, I believe they're still going to offer a permitting system for people that want to go and do it, but I don't know if it's still going to cost money or if it's just a voluntary thing. You can go get the permit just for the purposes of NICS checks. I have no idea how that's going to shake down. I suppose more details will come out in time as this bill, comes to pass and actually gets put into practice. So great job, Georgia, and I hope Governor Kemp, if you're listening, well, probably not, but get over there and sign this thing so we can, move the compass in our direction. And look, this is also political pressure, right? We're sitting here on midterms. They know that they need to give their voters and constituents something to hold on to. Look at how much constitutional carry has been stalemated in Florida, even though DeSantis has pushed so much. He even held a special session, a state legislative session, to discuss constitutional carry. And I believe for like a third time in a row, it was left dead on the floor. So a lot of these rhinos in Florida that run as Republicans, actually, when it comes to their voting record and the things that they support and what they don't support, it's becoming quite clear that Republicans in Florida are not exactly what they say they are, and the proof is definitely in the pudding. So we'll see what happens, but I don't expect many of these rhinos to be very happy when their record on these things is exposed and Florida votes accordingly. I mean, we are on midterms. So, you know what? I'll take the pressure any way I can get it in terms of getting things done. If it takes midterms to get constitutional carry passed, then by all means, flex that muscle. That's what I would encourage everyone to do. Governor Kemp does intend on signing this bill, so I don't think there's a lot of need to call and put pressure, but, you know, a call to the governor probably wouldn't be a bad thing. You know, be respectful, leave a message, tell them thank you for supporting the rights of gun owners, and say, hey, you know, look forward to you signing the bill. We'd like to see this happen. So anyway, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. We have many more news plugs on the way. Lots of stuff going on that we're going to be talking about. Thank you so much for the support over the years and for supporting what we do. Big thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. You guys are amazing. If you want to support us directly, you can go over to Ballistic Ink and pick yourself up a snazzy new t-shirt. That's one way you can support our efforts directly if you wish. And don't forget, go check out USCCA, use the code IV8888, and you can pick yourself up a 10% discount if you decide you want to go with USCCA's services. Definitely a great group of people. Have a good day. Many more on the way. We'll see you soon.